As the 18th.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Meet the Candidate session. Thank you so much for taking time out of your night to be with us. I am Helen Ronsky. I am your interim CEO long-term for Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson. We are so excited for all of you to get to know the individuals who will be presented on the slate for the Board of Directors, Board Development Committee, and at the upcoming annual meeting on May 3rd for Girl Scouts Heart of Hudson. The slate presented is because of the work of our extraordinary Board Development Committee this year, who I would now like to recognize. The members are Anna Mae Weavy, board member, Donna Halpern and Kim Barnett, both board members, Christine Drosba, board, Donna Egan, community member, Tamara Hanlon, community member, Jerry Weisberg, community member, Patricia Allen, community member, and Miriam Beveridge, community member. Thank you all all committee members for your hard work on this task. You had a formidable challenge this year and you met that challenge, and we are just so fortunate to have your talent and your time in producing this wonderful slate. It is now my pleasure to introduce you to your moderator for this evening's event, and that is Pat Allen, Board Development Committee member. Pat?
Thank you, Helen. Didn't know you had that picture of me. I'm so thrilled to be here. My name's Pat Allen. I'm a member of GSHH's Board Development Committee, and I will be your moderator this evening. So before we get started, first off, I just wanted to recognize and thank all of you who are here tonight as volunteers. It is Volunteer Appreciation Week, and I think just about everybody on this meeting is a volunteer, and that includes all of our candidates on this slate. These are all volunteer positions with a great amount of time required to serve in these roles. And so I just want to acknowledge and send out a big shout out and thanks to all of you for all of your volunteer commitment to our council. So I wanted to start out to go through kind of the flow of tonight's meeting. First off, it is being recorded, so just wanted everyone to be aware of that. And please make sure to mute yourself, that your microphones are off unless you're obviously speaking, so we can eliminate the background noise, and hopefully my dog will stay quiet as well. We will give all of our candidates an opportunity to briefly introduce themselves. Then after they all tell us a little bit about themselves, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. So we ask that you put those questions into the chat, and then you can either address them to a specific candidate or a group of candidates, such as maybe the girl board members or something, or a board development committee member, or it could just be a general question for anyone. Indicate that in your question. Then those will be kind of sorted out and fed back to me so that I can then ask the candidates those questions. Then I'll just kind of rotate those around so that all of the different candidates have an opportunity to answer at least one or two questions. So we're going to do our best to get through as many questions as possible tonight, but our time is limited. So, we will just keep plowing through. And if we're not able to get to your question, we do encourage you to attend the annual meeting, where I believe most of the candidates will try to be present in person. There'll be an opportunity prior to the meeting for socialization and, a chance to ask questions and talk to the candidates and get to know them a little bit better then. So, but we'll do the best we can to get through as many questions as possible. So also, all of you should have gotten an email today with the slate of candidates, as well as the descriptions, the bios of each of the candidates. So we hope you have those. You can kind of follow along. So we're going to begin tonight by introducing each of the candidates for the board officer positions. And we're going to begin with our current president of the board of directors, Gail Hauk. So Gail, if you want to, you have 2 minutes to tell us about yourself.
Excellent. I will try not to take that much time. My name is Gail Hauk. I'm the current president of Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson and have been serving in that role for the past year, not quite a year. It was the end of May when I was elected. And am honored to be nominated to serve for another term as well. So I grew up in Ulster County. I was a member of Ulster County Girl Scouts back in the Legacy Council days, starting from Daisy and going all the way through to high school when my troop sort of dissolved and I started working in the workforce, as a high schooler, and I still regret the fact that I never earned my higher awards, honestly, especially now. But in my current roles, I travel a lot. I'm all over the place. My family still resides in Ulster County, very close to where I grew up, actually. And I am currently serving in a one-year assignment as a senior advisor at the Department of Energy for the Assistant Secretary of Nuclear Energy. I have been doing nonprofit work for about the last 20 years. I've done a lot of work in professional societies and other organizations that have a relatively similar model to Girl Scouts, where there's a tremendous amount of participation and involvement from volunteer members. So I'm very familiar and experienced with working with volunteer members, which is a little bit different than working with a paid staff or something like that a lot of other folks come in with. So that's really my background. I think that's it. I'll wait for questions and see what other people want to know about.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Gail. Appreciate it. And now let's hear from our candidate for first vice president. That's Kim Barnett. So Kim, you have 2 minutes.
Here we go. Hi, my name is Kim Barnett. I'm very excited and honored to accept the nomination for first vice president. I am currently serving in the role of second vice president and have for this past year. I enjoy working with the board very much. I grew up in the South, so if you hear a little bit of a Southern accent, yes, I grew up in Alabama. Was very active as a Girl Scout there and had a fabulous experience. My mom was my leader, and my mentor growing up. I've lived in the Hudson Valley since 2001. I'm currently serving as the Assistant Director of Project Delivery and Value Management for Montefiore IT. And I enjoy working with the girls, working with the volunteers, and I look forward to another year in your service and hope to hear lots more from all of our volunteers tonight. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Kim. Appreciate it. Now we will hear from our candidate for second vice president. That's Donna Halperin. Donna, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm Donna Halperin, and thank you so much for attending the Zoom tonight. Professionally, I have a diverse background. I've worked in corporate America. I've had my own business. I've worked with innovation labs and advising early stage businesses. Some of the parts of my career that have fed me the most was being able to travel internationally and do business with and get to know people from all over the world and across our country. It also gave me a platform to develop many for-profit, nonprofit partnerships. I have always felt that we all need to embrace the communities around us. And for me, that really meant empowerment, youth empowerment and women's empowerment. And so serving on the board of the Girl Scouts really was close to my heart. So I've been on the board for a year. I've had really the pleasure of serving on the board development committee and on the property advisory committee. I'm a chair. And I look forward to meeting each of you face to face. I'm happy to answer any of your questions and get to know each other better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donna. Appreciate it. Next up is Jolene Burrell, who is the candidate for board treasurer. Jolene, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Jolene Burrell. I live in the Hudson Valley. I have been an adult member of Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson for the past couple of years now. I have served on the Board Development Committee, the Finance Committee. Now I chair the Finance Committee. I'm currently the treasurer for the past year, I believe. I have had such a wonderful time with the board that we serve on and all the committees that I have served on. I'm on the investment committee, I think the audit committee. So anything with numbers, that's where I serve on. As you can tell, I'm an accountant. So I really, really have enjoyed serving with the women that I've been, and men that I've been on the board with, and the committees that I've been with. And I really believe in the organization. I think they're doing a wonderful job, and I can't wait to serve another year with everybody. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jolene. Now we'll hear from Kate Doyle Bunker. Kate is the candidate for board secretary. Kate, you have 2 minutes.
Hello, I'm honored and humbled to have served the board for the last year. I am a family support specialist, which means I support post-adoptive guardianship and foster families in their journey to support their children who come from hard places. Prior to that, I was the clerk for the Village of New Paltz. So I served the regular board, the planning board, and the zoning board for over 5 years. I did not have the opportunity to participate in Girl Scouts as a young lady. At the time, there were no open troops. So when my daughter, who is now a 6th grader, was in kindergarten, it was important to me that she has that opportunity. And I'm a put your money where your mouth is kind of mom. And so if she was going to do something, I would back it up as a volunteer. It has been my honor to serve with the current board. I have had the pleasure of specifically working with the bylaws committee over the last few months. It was a hard task, but a loving task, and delighted that we consistently sought to not disenfranchise the delegates. Thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kate. Appreciate your time. And now we're going to move on to our board candidates for the position of director at large. And first, we're going to hear from Catherine St. Laurent. Catherine, I believe, is calling in because she's on the West Coast tonight. So Catherine, welcome. You have 2 minutes. Is her connection not good?
She's trying to unmute.
Okay, we'll give her a minute then.
It's a little harder on the phone than on the computer.
There we go.
Sometimes-
Hello, sorry.
Welcome.
Yes,
Oh, great, welcome.
apologies and greetings from the Pacific Northwest. I am calling in from having spent a week at a conference in Vancouver, and I'm on my way to Seattle to get on a red eye to New York. So greetings to all of you. Thank you for bearing with me as I am in transit. I am Catherine St. Laurent. I am a native of Montreal. I'm French Canadian. I spent most of my childhood growing up in Canada, and then subsequently in Belgium, where my father was living at the time. And I eventually started my career out there and spent the first decade of my career in Europe. And then the better part of the last 10 years was spent in these parts in the Northwest, where I was working with Melinda Gates and the Gates Foundation, advancing her philanthropic goals. And over the last couple of years have actually formed my own consulting firm out of New York with a business partner where we advise philanthropists, nonprofit organizations, and other leaders on their impact strategies. So I am very excited to be able to bring the experience and knowledge and insights that I have from being on the front lines of this kind of work professionally to the group. I also relocated with my family from the Northwest to New York almost 2 years ago. And my daughter has been in a troupe since she started kindergarten. So she's about to finish first grade. So this is her, I guess, sort of second year of it, and she adores it. And so I'm excited to both experience it as a parent and as a member of this group. So thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks so much, Catherine, and safe travels. We'll see you when you get back.
Thank you.
And now we will hear from Board Director candidate Travis Hines. Travis, you have 2 minutes.
Good evening. First of all, I'm honored to be nominated, so thank you so much. Briefly about me, I am a father of 2, a 26-year-old and a 6-year-old. I am a lifelong resident of Westchester, Lower Westchester. I come from a background of HR, about 25 years, primarily in a supply chain logistical space. The majority of my time was with a company called DHL. Currently, my current role is with a company called WB Mason that specializes in office products, and I'm a senior director of HR. I also am a certified mediator and a change management leader and facilitator as well. I do volunteer my mediation skills throughout the New York City area, specifically with an organization called MCIR, which stands for Institute of Conflict Resolution, where we assist individuals primarily in the Bronx that has some specific challenges. And in verse of going through a potential court system, some of those matters are adjudicated through a mediation basis. So, these are some of the things that I'm passionate about. And personally, having 2 daughters that are 20 years apart, and having a first grader who has been a member of a Daisy troop in Lower Westchester for a year. It has been a wonderful experience. Living in that orbit, experiencing that orbit from a 6-year-old's mindset with her friends and who both her colleagues in school and her colleagues in Girl Scouts. It's really been a wonderful experience. I do come from a background of servant leadership, and that's something that I really attest to and something that I truly believe in, and I really hope to add value to this role through my HR background and just being a parent of a Daisy from a person of color.
Thank you, Travis. Appreciate your time. And next up is a Board Director candidate, Alyssa Cesari. Alyssa, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Pat. It's wonderful to meet all of you this evening, and I'm honored to be considered for this candidacy. I was born and raised in the Hudson Valley, and I now live in northern Westchester County with my husband and 2 daughters. My 2 girls, Josephine and Victoria, love Girl Scouting, and passion to their troops has really drawn me closer to this wonderful organization. I've spent the last 20 years of my career in this region. I started off as a physical therapist in about 2002, and I'm currently the Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for WMC Health's Northern Region, where I'm responsible for 3 hospitals, a long-term care facility, and 2 acute inpatient rehab units. I oversee about 2,000 employees and have an operating budget just over 400 million. Supporting the community in which I live and raising my family is something that's always been super close to my heart, and I'm really keenly devoted to. I'm currently active with Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson as a troop leader, a treasurer, a cookie mom. I formerly was a big sister through Big Brother, Big Sister. I currently serve on a couple local boards throughout the Hudson Valley. A class mom in the Yorktown School District, and like I said, I'm honored to be considered for a seat on this board, and look forward to doing some good work with both the board and the service units. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Alyssa. So now we're going to move on and hear from our 2 girl Board Director candidates. And girl board director candidates are Girl Scouts who serve on the board directors for a one-year term. And they represent the girl membership across the council at the board level by providing the girl voice to help influence council strategy and policy. So it's a big job for these young women. So first we will hear from Kate Pogge. Kate?
Hi, thank you. So as you heard, my name is Kate Pogge. I go to John Jay High School. I am a junior and I'm really excited to be able to serve on the girl board, be a girl board director. In my free time, I enjoy doing robotics, which is actually why I'm not in the city right now. I'm actually at the World Championship right now, which I'm really excited for. So I hope to pursue a career in aerospace engineering at some point, and I'm really big in STEM. And being on the board of directors, I really hope to help people envision a pathway from being a daisy to an ambassador, show them that there's so many different things they can do with Girl Scouting. And just to finish off, I'd like to tell you guys a little about my Gold Award project that I'm pursuing right now. I'm hoping to inform and encourage girls to go into STEM careers. And so far I've done a STEM panel, which I invited 5 professional women to my high school, where they could talk about their careers and how they got there. And I'm also hoping to plan and run some badge workshops for young girls. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kate. Very impressive. And now we will hear from the second of our girl board candidates, Janvi Mundra. Janvi, you have 2 minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janvi Mundra. I am a junior at Arlington High School, and I'm incredibly grateful and excited to be a girl board member and to be working with you all, and I hope to meet everyone in person soon. I started Girl Scouts when I was 9 years old, and I became a Juliet, which is a single Girl Scout, when I was 11. And so I hope to bring the Juliet perspective to the board and discuss how to incorporate Juliets more into our council. Outside of Girl Scouts, I'm involved in a number of my school clubs, such as being editor-in-chief of my school newspaper, being in the Equity Association, and I founded a club called HOSA, which we explore different health and medical fields, and I'm specifically interested in psychology. I'm also a really creative person, so I like to read, do art, and I like to write poetry. And for my Gold Award project, I am using my passion for poetry to educate kids my age on how to use poetry for mental wellness through a podcast. And through this board, I want to be able to use my perspective of mental health, equity, and being a Juliet. And yeah, I'm really excited to be on this board, and thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much, Janvi. I'm particularly impressed with these young women, I just have to say. Now we'll move on and hear from our Board Development Committee candidates. As Helen had mentioned earlier, the Board Development Committee prepares the slate of nominations for board officers, for the Board of Directors, the Board Development Committee, as well as national delegates and alternates. So first we will hear from Christine Drasba. She's a Board Development Committee candidate. Christine, you have 2 minutes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Drasba. I'm on the slate as a member of the BDC for the coming term. I've actually been a member of the Board of Directors for the past 3 years, and I've really enjoyed being a board director during that time. I served on the Philanthropy and Fund Development Committees, the Strategic Planning Committee. I'm also currently serving on the Property Advisory Task Force, and currently on the Board Development Committee. Over the past 3 years, my work obligations have changed and shifted a bit. So I'm not going to be seeking a second board director term, but I'm really thrilled to have an opportunity and hope to continue my work with the BDC. Professionally, I have about 15 years experience working in higher ed administration with a focus in student affairs. I've worked with student leadership programs, civic engagement, academic advising for college students. I served 5 years as the Assistant Director of Community Partnerships, working with nonprofits in partnership with Sarah Lawrence College in Yonkers. And then last year, I began a new role. I'm currently the degree program coordinator for New York University's prison education program. So I split my time between NYU's New York City campus in downtown Manhattan and the Wallkill Correctional Facility in Ulster County. So frequently traversing the footprint of the council. In my current role, I support 50 incarcerated students who are working towards their AA degrees. Actually, next Wednesday is our graduation ceremony. We have 10 students who have earned their associate's degrees during the pandemic. So I'm really excited to celebrate them. I'm a third generation Girl Scout. Also, my grandma and my mother were both Girl Scouts themselves and also troop leaders. Most of my best childhood memories are from my own Brownie troop and Girl Scout days on Long Island, particularly memories of camp and the friends that I made there, some of whom I'm friends with till this day, 35 years later. I'm thrilled to have been able to reconnect with Scouting as a member of the board of directors and to be part of this team helping strengthen GSHH and the council, creating opportunities for the next generation of Girl Scouts. And I'm really particularly excited to continue my work as a community member on the BDC. I think it's a critical role with an important responsibility to shape governance and leadership in the council. And a priority for me in that role will be to diversify the voices, perspectives, and skills that members bring to the board of directors so they can support the Girl Scouts of the future. So I really appreciate this nomination and the chance to continue being a member of this wonderful community. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much, Christine. Now we will hear from Michelle Pollock-Rich. Michelle is a current board member and a candidate for the Board Development Committee. So Michelle, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Pat. As you heard, Michelle Pollock-Rich. I live in northern Dutchess County in Milan, New York. Although I grew up between Billings and Tappan, New York, and on reflection for this, realized that I've either lived or worked in 5 of the 7 counties of the council. So kind of a pretty good grasp of the geography. And I'm finishing the second year of my first term on the board. I only went through Brownie in LaGrangeville, but it was some of the best experiences of my young adulthood, my childhood. So when my girls were the right age, I enrolled my older daughter in Daisies. And then we moved to South Jersey so I could go to law school. And I think that this will be a familiar story for some of you. When I went looking for a Brownie troop for her, unfortunately, there was no space in any of the troops. And the suggestion from the council was, well, you could start your own troop. And I think most of you know how that goes. So before you knew it, we had 5, and then we were one point we were up to 22, and then down again. And we ran that troop until actually we left South Jersey in about 6 or 7 years later. And I was very excited in 2014 to be able to move back to the Hudson Valley. So my first career is in education, 6 through 12, and my second career has been in nonprofit management. And the last 10 years of that as an executive director in executive management. And in those roles, I've had a lot of experience working with boards of directors, helping my governance committees to select board members, to try to balance the skills matrix of those boards, to try to really get different perspectives and a mix of expertise and skills in different places. So I'm just hoping to thank you for the nomination. I'm hoping to bring that here to Heart of Hudson on the Board Development Committee.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate it. Okay, I just want to thank all of our candidates for sharing your experience with us and helping everyone to get to know you better. So now we're going to move into the Q&A portion of the evening. So again, you can enter your questions into the chat, and then they will be forwarded over, and we will get some answers here. So I'm just looking, I think we have first question here, which is, how do you plan to get to know the Girl Scouts in the diverse communities that currently span the 7 counties in GSHH, in particular those that are radically different from your own? Jolene, would you like to take that question? Again, how do you plan to get to know the Girl Scouts in the diverse communities that currently span the 7 counties in GSHH, in particular those that are radically different from your own?
sorry, I guess, oh, sorry. I guess we have to just, look at all the different counties, and I don't know if we have some studies for the Girl Scouts in the different counties so that we can take a look and see what diversity there is there. Can you read that again? I'm sorry. I was on
Sure, it's just,
here.
how do you plan to get to know the Girl Scouts in the diverse communities that currently span the 7 counties in GSHH, in particular those that are radically different from your own? I think we all know, like, it's 7 counties. It's a big
Yeah, I
footprint.
know, and I'm in
So-
Orange County, so I'm kind of like, I think Westchester has the most scouts there. So I think we really need to focus on the counties that there's not so many people, because I know Sullivan, Ulster, those counties have less people. So I think we need to focus on those counties that don't have that many, the diversity is kind of sparse there in the other counties. So we're gonna have to get involved there as well.
Thank you. And let's see, I'm trying to think, I know there are a couple people who need to leave early. Kate Doyle Bunker, would you like to respond to that question also?
Sure. Well, I'd start by saying that my daughter is a young woman of color. And so that she is a member of the African American community, and she's a member of the Hispanic community. And so as a parent, I am constantly looking for diversity in her personal experiences. So in doing so, that takes me to a variety of different places where I am always interested in information that I can bring back for the Girl Scouts, for the organization that I work for. Both have a vested interest in diversity for those that they serve. I currently serve in my position as a family support specialist. I serve 7 counties. I serve Ulster, Orange, Dutchess, Columbia, Greene, Sullivan, and Delaware counties. So we're always looking for information on making sure that everyone feels equitable, included, heard, and seen. As a parent whose child is also in scouting, I try to attend and participate in as many activities as humanly possible. My entire family intends to come out for Camp Wendy Day on Saturday, if the weather will hold, in order to serve our camp and hopefully see a whole lot of young ladies and their families out preparing our camp for the coming year.
Great, thank you so much. So this question, it says is for board directors and officers. You all have good credentials. Out of all of the organizations you could volunteer at, why are you choosing Girl Scouts specifically? Travis, would you like to respond to that?
Sure. For me, having obviously skin in the game, because my daughter is a Daisy, was primarily the initial motivating factor. But it was really the embrace that I received from my local group that really emphasized to me the real community nature of the Girl Scouts, and wanted to make me, become a deeper member, be able to understand where I can add value to my local Girl Scout community. And I think that having the ability just to share experiences, meet as many people as you can, share commonalities, that's where everything begins. Everything begins with a conversation and understanding that everybody pretty much has the same baseline. So you understand what's important to you, what's important to them, and you begin that process and you really grow from it.
Great, thank you so much. Catherine St. Laurent, would you like to respond to that as well? Why choose Girl Scouts over other organizations that you could volunteer with?
Pat,
Did she drop off? Helen, you're muted.
she was having too much
Okay,
interruption.
okay, all right, no problem. Alyssa, would you like to respond to that? Why choose Girl Scouts as the organization that you want to give this level of commitment to?
Yes, absolutely. So So as a female in the workplace, I think I've experienced firsthand some of the unseen barriers that women face each day. And I think it's really vital for women and girls to learn at a young age, just to be empowered and feel confident. I spend a lot of my time professionally mentoring women in the workplace. And while I think that that's great, and there's certainly a lot of value, I think hopefully, certainly for me and hopefully for them as well, I think that that's missing the mark a little bit, in so much that it really needs to start sooner. And in my mind, that's exactly what Girl Scouts does, teaching girls to be resilient and be their authentic selves. And so I feel really aligned with the mission and the goals of Girl Scouts.
Great, thank you so much. I don't see any other questions right now. I would encourage any of you who have questions to type them into the chat. But in the meantime, I can fill with one here. So what skills do you think girls in the future will need to be successful? And I'd be curious to hear from our two girl candidates with their perspective on this. Janvi, do you have some ideas of what skills you think girls will need to be successful in the future?
Yeah, so I think an important skill is definitely being able to have some sort of experience with leadership, but also with being a leader, having some form of empathy and having a good balance between being a leader and having empathy, I think, are two skills in which I think are important, because in a Girl Scouts itself, I think fosters such a positive environment in which you can be a leader, but I think it's also really important to have empathy in that as well, to foster good relationships, not only now, but in the future as well, also in the professional field.
Thanks so much. Kate, would you like to add your thoughts on that?
Yes, I'd love to. I think there's really three main skills that girls need to be successful in the future. I think those skills are leadership, resilience, and resourcefulness. And I feel like girls need to be able to be leaders in this world, to be able to share their own opinions, share their voice, so that world can be what they want it to be. I think they need to have resilience, because as a woman, I know that I'm going to be going into a very male-dominated field. If I don't have resilience, I will not be able to succeed. And Girl Scouts really teaches you resilience. When things don't go exactly your way, you have to be able to bump back up. You have to be able to adapt, shift. And I think the last skill, I already forgot what I said. I think you need resourcefulness for the same reason, because you need to be able to adapt to whatever situation you're in. And that's just a really important skill that Girl Scouts has taught me, at least.
Hey, thank you so much. Do we have any other questions coming in? Just give a second here. Okay, I have a question for some of the current board members, because they're probably a little more familiar with the council, but where do you hope to see our council in 5 years? Gail, would you like to respond to that?
Sure. Where would I like to see our council in 5 years? I would like to see us continuing on the journey that we started last year, when Helen and I came in, of transparency and openness, and getting all of the 7 counties working together. I love to hear what Jolene mentioned about making sure that we are paying attention to the places where there aren't as many scouts right now. When we look at the Blue Book and our charter as Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson, our job per the charter is to provide the Girl Scout experience to all of our geographies, regardless of resources or how many people are interested. We need to be able to provide all of those services everywhere within our geographic footprint. So I would love for us to see in 5 years that our numbers have gone up in Sullivan and Ulster and Orange County, Dutchess County. We're seeing lots of program, lots of activities, lots of troops happening there, and it's just a vibrant and thriving council all across our geographic footprint and all across the different demographic areas that we have throughout our council.
Great, thank you so much. Kim, would you like to add anything to Gail's thoughts about where you would like to see our council be in 5 years?
Sure. I definitely agree with making sure that we have the diversity, the inclusiveness, the transparency. I think that's all very important for all of our delegates, our volunteers to feel like their voices are being heard. And also that we're well represented. We have that large geographic footprint over the 7 counties. So the more representation we have, it would be fabulous to have an annual meeting where we clearly exceed, our quorum with so many delegates represented from all 7 counties and all of the service units. That would be wonderful, so that we clearly see and hear everyone's voices. And I want to continue to see exciting programs for our girls. They are the leaders of the future. So the more programs we have that take into account the changes as they go through, we didn't have STEM. We didn't really hear about STEM, say 10 years ago, and, now it's all about STEM, but it's being in tune with the changes, in our world and being able to adapt and offer programs that help prepare them so that they are the leaders. There's nothing more exciting, I think, for us as a council to, see our girls go on and be recognized and know that they got their start from working with all of us, working and learning from the council and working and learning from their fellow sister Girl Scouts. So that's where I want to see us.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just checking again to see if there are any other questions coming in. Let's see. So we heard the girls talk about some of the skills that they felt were going to be important for girls to be successful in the future. So I'd be curious to hear from some of our candidates as to how they feel Girl Scouting helps support the girls in those ways and helps support them to be successful. What do you think are the key things that Girl Scouting does to help support these girls to become successful? Christine, would you like to take a stab at that? You come from a long line of Girl Scouting.
Sure. So I think actually the first thing that I started thinking about when that question was posed to Kate and John V was thinking about all of the college students, the 18-year-old young women that I often see arriving on college campuses and how that has changed over the 15 years or 20 years since I was a college student myself, and how the challenges are so different now than they were when I was sort of just starting out independently, at 18 or whatever age that is, and thinking of the challenges now coming out of 3 years of, restricted programming and school and shifted opportunities and these sort of strange ways of being that we've all been forced into because of the pandemic. So I think, thinking about the types of programs that girls need, any young person needs coming up, Scouts are perfectly set up to be able to do that. I think a level of independence is what I've seen, folks struggle with, especially recently, folks who haven't had an opportunity to get out, young people get out and explore in the way that they might have before COVID. I think conflict resolution, like being able to disagree civilly or to work through tough collaborative projects. That's sort of the opposite of the independent, is to work together, and to get out and explore and sort of test your boundaries and challenge yourself. There just haven't been as many opportunities to do that, as we've been virtual. So I think part of that is things that I see, in these post-COVID times, but also as times have shifted, since my own scouting days, since my own coming out of scouting days and into, college and into the quote real world, social media and all of those things too. I think, conflict with civility and collaboration, and a sense of confidence and independence. Those are all things that are made tougher by social media culture and doing things online, even a professional environment. And I think Scouts are perfectly set up to be able to battle some of those things and provide those opportunities for girls to step out of their comfort zone and to work together and to work independently, and to test themselves and challenge themselves in ways that have direct implications to the real world.
Thank you. Michelle, would you like to give us your thoughts on ways that you feel the Girl Scouting program and mission really support girls to be successful in the future?
Sure. I would kind of piggyback on what Christine was saying. Although technology allows us to be more interconnected than really at any time in our history, somehow we have lost our sense of community. And I think that Scouting really helps girls not just to become leaders, and we need those leaders, but also to work together, to understand what teamwork is and to listen with a feeling of community and in extending a hand in friendship. And how do we, for example, how do we get to know other parts of the council? Well, we have to go extend our hands in friendship, right? And talk to each other and meet each other in a very conscious way to build that community. And I think that our Scouts are really well positioned in the council to learn those skills and to move forward with empathy and with a willingness to understand each other so that they can not just be successful themselves, but help our communities and our world to be successful.
Great, thank you so much. We do have a question from one of our attendees. It says, I've always felt that board members should try to visit the different service unit community events, divvy them up among the board members. Are you up for having more personal contact with the volunteers who drive Girl Scout programming for the girls? Donna, would you like to respond to that? Are you up for trekking around to visit community events?
So let me answer that question with a resounding yes. Some of the best parts of the last year have been getting to know, well, certainly my colleagues on the board, but getting to know troop leaders and visiting the properties and interacting with as many members of the Girl Scouts as I can possibly touch, whether it be through Zoom or a personal meeting. And I would love the opportunity to do that. Frankly, sometimes I find out after the fact or too close to the time of an event, but I would love to have that scheduled in my calendar. I truly believe that the Girl Scouts play an essential role in educating and empowering young women. As I listened to everyone talk about what Girl Scouts bring to the girls, I think we're all here for so much of the same reason, leadership, empathy, STEM comfort level, so that these girls can go out into the world and really change the communities in which they live in. And would I love to be able to meet more of you? Absolutely. Just send me an email with the date and time, and most likely you'll see me there.
Great, thank you. We will see you on the road.
Absolutely.
Kim, would you like to respond to that as well?
Sure. I love service unit events. I was a service unit manager for many years with East Fishkill. Some of my best memories as an adult Girl Scout volunteer were in that. Love doing community day parade, the events, seeing the girls, going to the events, the bridging ceremonies. So yes, I love going out to the community, meeting the volunteers, meeting the girls, hearing about their activities. I'm still they're so kind. The Greater Fishkill Service Unit managers still copy me on, the emails about the events. I'm on the Facebook page for them, so I love hearing about it. So I still have that connection with my service unit, but, I miss working with all the service unit managers. That was a wonderful time for me as a volunteer. So I'm eager. So, send me your invites. I will be more than happy to be there. And I love to travel and drive. So I'm all for it. Yes.
Great, thank you. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Looking here. No? I guess we've got a few minutes left. I'd like to hear from our new candidates from Travis and Alyssa and Kate and John V if we have time. Just very quickly, what are you looking forward to most about serving in this role? Travis?
For me, I'm looking to really explore, really understand the environment, understanding ways that I can add value, and just really not only become a resource, but just be able to generate an environment where there's a lot of free flowing information, there's a lot of support, there's a lot of structure, and really doing this early. I think one of the key pieces which some of the candidates mentioned tonight is when you get out and meet people early and you build those relationships early, it's easy to maintain those versus waiting until later in a season where you have to kind of develop those. Once you initiate it from the beginning, it's easier to be able to have that continuity and to be able to really expand it and to know exactly some of the things that different communities need, some of the things you need that they may be able to reciprocate for, and that way you can all have a shared experience and understand that there may be some ambiguity, and that's part of the way of life. There's some things that's going to be detailed, but there's also going to be other aspects that is going to have some ambiguity. And how do you find your way through that? And you find your way through that with empathy. You find your way through that by learning and just listening to understand, not necessarily listening to respond. Right. So when you incorporate so many different ideas and coming from a place of just wanting to help, you will achieve so much more.
Thank you so much. Alyssa, what are you looking forward to most in serving on the board?
Yeah, so I would say there's probably two things from the highest level. The first is being able to provide value to the board and impact positive change, whatever that might be over the course of the next year. But the other thing, which I think is a little bit more important, is being able to impact at a higher level. Seeing the girls really. The thing about Girl Scouts that I love the most is that, I think Christine was saying it just in her talking about conflict resolution. But if you take that a step further, it's conflict resolution, and then seeing the girls being able to empower each other, support one another, champion each other. And so being involved in that at a higher level is really what if I have to be totally honest, what I'm probably looking forward to the most. That and of course, cookies. I'm always looking forward to cookies, Girl Scout cookies.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, Kate, Pogi, would you like to share with us just briefly what you're looking forward to the most in serving on the board?
I'm really looking forward to just being able to work with all of you guys, and I'm really looking forward also to seeing how Girl Scouts works on a higher level and seeing how I can really help make the older girl experience the best it can be. I'm really, as I said before, I'm really looking forward to figuring out how to make that pathway from younger girls to older girls really happen, to help girls really see that reality, how Girl Scouts can impact them immediately. So I'm really looking forward to see how I can accomplish that while being on the board.
Thank you. And Janvi, would you like to share with us what you're looking forward to most about being a girl board director?
Of course. So a couple things. One is, like Kate said, just being able to work with everyone. I think it's really a unique experience to be able to work with a fellow Girl Scout, but also with so many people from different backgrounds and levels of Girl Scouts. And another is I currently serve on the National Girl Advisory Board, and I've had the experience of being in a mental health subcommittee on that. And on this board, I would really like to be able to spread the importance of mental health to Girl Scouts. And lastly, I heard that the Heart of the Hudson has 7 counties, which I never realized, and I never realized was so big. And so I'm looking forward to be able to to find ways and activities to be able to connect Girl Scouts from this very big council. So yeah, thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. I think we have one last question here from the audience. It says, part of being a board member requires fundraising and bringing new partnerships to benefit girls and volunteers. What experience do you bring to GSHH in this area? Gail, would you like to address that?
Well, we've been having a lot of fun on our fund development committee this year. That is now the philanthropy committee, because I thought that sounded more in line with what our duty really is. It's to philanthropy and not just developing funds and raising money. It's really developing a culture of philanthropy, as Jean Zappia and I have talked about a lot. And I think the role of the board member is not necessarily that person that is going out and selling, but it's that person that is inspiring others to want to donate to an organization when they meet somebody that is so passionate and so excited about the mission and what we're doing of serving the girls and developing the next generation of girl leaders. When people meet somebody that are so excited about what we're doing, they want to help and they want to give and to donate to those organizations. So I see that as truly being the role of our board members, is to be an inspiration to others because of our commitment to the organization and to the mission, that we bring in other people that want to serve in whatever way they're able to, whether it's financially or with their time or energy or love or expertise.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate it. So we are at 8 o'clock. So I think that's a wrap in terms of our questions. So I just want to thank all the candidates for participating tonight and all the attendees for joining us and providing such great questions. And so I think all the questions were pretty much answered, but again, I encourage everyone to register and attend the annual meeting on May 3rd and have another opportunity to speak with our candidates. And the rest of the board, who is not necessarily up for election at this point, but there are additional board members that you'd have an opportunity to meet. So again, if you haven't yet registered for the annual meeting, I believe the link is in the chat log, and we hope to see you there. So have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you all.
night.
Bye-bye.